Hello, I'm Himanshu. I do Android at Cookpad, and today I'm going to speak about notifications in Android. So a while ago, I was tasked to implement some new notifications in our app, and that was the first time I actually looked into different notification styles in Android and like appreciated, found out different API behavior changes with each Android version, and kind of ran into a lot of issues. So yeah, so this talk I'm try to summarize why I use notification, types of notification, quickly show about all the behavior changes from Android 5 to Android 10, and then some of the best practices and pitfalls to watch for. Yeah, so why use notifications? So with each app installed on the user's device, the mindshare for per app decreases. So notifications are a good way to engage the users. So not any notification, but well planned, implemented, tracked, and relevant and timely notifications are key. So it can bring your dormant users back into the app and can drive growth, engagement, and retention if done right. It could be other way around. Like for me, if I have installed an app and I have forgot about it and I got a notification which is not relevant, for me it's like a reminder to uninstall the app because the notification is not helping and I'm not using the app. So yeah, and that is the reason like in Firebase also the notification is put under growth header. So if done right, it can really work as a growth. Right, so I want to talk about the types of notification. Mainly there are two, non-transactional and transactional. So the transactional ones are the one which deliver a concrete value, and 99% of people wanted them, like your call, your alarm reminders, your order being delivered, your flights are delayed. So very absolutely critical notification which everyone wants. And everything else falls into non-transactional notifications, and which are two subtypes, opt-out and opt-in. So the opt-out notifications are the ones which you send by default and let the user opt out. So if users are not interested, they can opt out from those notifications. And opt-in are you give the user an option in your app to opt in into certain kind of notifications. So opt-in are the ones which may not appeal to everyone. So for example, on your onboarding of your app, you ask user, do you want to subscribe to these notifications or not? So let them choose. So the examples are for opt-out, the YouTube is pretty good. It's a pretty good notification in terms of it has a clear context. So the context is the channel which I have subscribed, and it's delivering a value as well. The value is the new video published in the channel, and then they go for an opt-out. They have option to turn it off. So if I'm not interested into hearing these kind of notification from this channel, I can turn off. And another is opt-in, like within the app we can prompt the user if you are interested in certain types of notifications or not. So yes, so I'm gonna quickly go through all the behavior changes from in each Android versions. So I want to start with Android 6, but there's nothing really changed in Android 6. So Android 5 introduced these peek-in notifications, and they also introduced the notification view from the lock screen. So these are the two methods they introduced. On the lock screen, we can control the visibility if we want to hide the content of the notification on lock screen, or if we want to hide only the sensitive content or show everything. So and then these two methods got deprecated after Android O when they introduced channels, but we still kind of good to know we still have to use this to support previous Android versions. Okay, Android 7. I think is lot. So they didn't introduce anything in 6, and then they introduced tons of feature on 7 nougat, and I think N is for like notifications. So they introduced inline replies from notification tray, they introduced bundling, they introduced some support for custom notifications, they introduced bunch of new APIs. One interesting is to check if the notifications are enabled, and before that the developers were using like horrible reflection to find out, so they introduced this API. Yeah, so let's go through these very quickly. Inline replies, pretty basic. We specify the remote input and set this extra, which we will then use later in our service to get the content back. We add the remote input to the action, and then add the action with the notification, and also attach the pending intent to the reply action. So which pending intent, it matters. So it could be either activity or service or broadcasters. So anything lower than N, the pending intent for the reply action has to be an activity, and anything above N, it has to be service or a broadcast receiver. So they use this activity if the screen is locked to display the auth challenge. So the screen is unlocked, and then you take the user to wherever they want to interact. Yes, and then updating the notification for the inline replies. So mostly for any types of the notification except messaging style, we set the remote input history. So when we reply from the inline notification, we want user to let that it's being sent, and so we have to update the notification as well. And if it's a messaging style, we extract the messaging style, add it to a message, and build a new notification. Oops. Yeah. So bundling, they introduced notification bundling from 7. So by default, the system bundles 4 or more notifications sent by the app, and it's pretty straightforward. And if we want to bundle the notification as per our own logic, then we need to attach the group key and the behavior. So this behavior can define if all the notification wants to make noise or only the summary notification wants to make the noise. So, and then we also have to declare the summary notification. So on Android, below 7, only the summary notification will be displayed, because OS versions below 7 doesn't support bundling. Next is support for the custom view. They also added support for custom notification. They added bunch of decorators. So the custom notification look like any other notification. So the decorator will add this header on the top, which usually every notification has, where we have the app icon, the name, and the time, and all kind of that stuff. So this is the example of the custom notification. The Guardian ran this like near the election, so they sent out the opt-in notifications, like people who wanted or interested in the results, so they can subscribe, and then they set this ongoing notification, and which keeps off updating. So I think at that time they didn't have this support, so it doesn't look like any other notification. Yeah, Android O, we got channels. So I think the main idea behind channels is like give the user more control how they want to receive the notification. So the app can send the notification, and the user can decide how they want to receive the notification, like if the notification want to make noise, vibrate, and all that kind of settings. So changing the channel settings is prohibited so once you declare the channel, you cannot change it. You can only change its name and description, and deleting or recreating the channel will be revealed in the app settings. So this is kind of a anti-spam mechanism. So if you keep deleting and recreating the channels, it will be shown in the OS notification settings. So because they don't want if user can, so the user change in the channel always takes preference. And we can also group the channels. So if we have like more than 10 channels, we can group them. And the use case for this, if the app has multiple accounts, like Gmail, could have multiple accounts, or if your app has a leisure account or a business account, we can group the channels. So how can we find if the channel is turned off by the user? Because it's so easy. When you receive a notification, you like press it, hold and press, and you can just swipe a button and the channel is turned off. So one way to know the channel, these methods get notification channel, and which can then we can get all the settings of that channel, sound, vibration and importance. And if the importance is none, that means it's blocked by the user. It's kind of good to know the numbers, but we don't want to spam the user and asking them to re-enable the block notification. And from P they added this new method to check the same. On O we also got the notification badges. So when we receive a notification badge, you got a big dot on the app icon, and long press can reveal the notification. We can also override this dot with the number. There's a method called set number, so we can have the incrementing number as well there. Yeah, a couple of more new methods added in O. One is we can set the timeout for the notification, so the notification will be automatically dismissed after a certain time. You can set the color of the notification. This is only, you cannot set the color in any type of notification, only the notification which has some kind of background service running against it or has an active media session. So in this case, like, you can colorize the media style notification. And we also have set bypass do not disturb mode in a channel. This should be only used for very high priority apps like a call app or something, because we want to respect if the phone is in the DND mode. Okay, Android P. The focus was on the display of the notification, so they added this person API, and there's a bunch of attributes in this person class. There's a name, there's key, there's a URI. You can also set the icon. So the main idea about this, if you're sending a messaging style, you can specify which person, and the system can pull this person information from your call app. So like if you do not have an icon, it can pull the icon if you have person icon on your call app. And if the person is starred in your call list, it can also interrupt the notification can interrupt even if the phone is in DND mode. So like it can find if the person is important or not. And yeah, so we can then, when we build a messaging style, we add a sender in a message. And another new feature which was added is inline comments. So we inline images in the notification. So we can specify the image in a message. And we can also specify if that message is a group conversation with these methods. So the person, it will pull the person information, like icon or everything, and attach it to the notification. The inline image is this, and the group title will be shown here. And this is only in Android 2. Right. Okay, Android 10. The major feature was smart replies. They introduced the smart replies in Android 10. That means we already have this set choices method. So this method is so that if you have your own machine learning service, you can read the message and suggest some like replies. So if you want to use the smart replies, we do not want to use this. Rather, it's pretty straightforward. In the reply action, we set this, set allow generated replies to true. And also we can enable this in notification, which suggest some system generated contextual actions. So these two things, and it has to be enabled from the settings. Yeah. This is how the smart reply looks. So if you have a message, the system can suggest few of the replies. So this is what they say is the machine learning on the device. So your message is not going to some service and they're not reading it. And here is the contextual actions. So if there is a URL on the notification, it can suggest a Chrome link. For address, it can suggest the map. So it's pretty useful. One more thing they changed in Android 10 is now you can have a seek bar in media style notification. So they automatically add it, and user can drag and drop the song. Alright. Last thing on Android 10, they also introduced bubbles, which is still in preview, so it's hidden under developer options. We have to enable it. It's also pretty straightforward to use. We declare an activity. This activity is used by the bubble to build its UI, and we need these 3 attributes in the activity, and then set the bubble metadata in the notification. And in the bubble metadata we have basic information about icon and the desired height, and the bubble will look like this. We all have seen bubble can show the notification and it slide down to dismiss, but it's still in preview, so it's not meant to be used in production yet. Alright. Okay, so now to the best practices. As you've seen, like this constantly changes in each API version. So yeah, I have come up with some best practices to follow, and which should be like general guidelines. So first of all, we want to segment our users. We do not want to treat every user same and send the same notification to everyone. We want to send personalized notification based on their interest and everything, so we can run campaigns from Firebase. We can let the user subscribe to the notification, so we can use the Firebase topics. We want to take the time of the day into account. We do not want user to interrupt like in the middle of the night. And according to me, every notification should be actionable. If you're telling us, if you're sending a notification, it should have some action. So it's kind of a characteristics of a good notification. It should deliver a value, it should be actionable and really relevant. And we want to group the similar notification and also make sure we prioritize each notification accordingly. We don't want to send the high priority notification for everything. Another good practice is we can link our own app's settings screen in the OS screen. So if someone is fiddling with the OS notification settings, it's a good chance to send them back into our app, where they can see more settings related to notification. So it's pretty easy to link, and it's kind of a good practice. And in your own settings screen, we can explain more like what type of notification they can have more control. We want to handle the failure scenarios when we are doing inline replies. That means if our service fails, so I think one good practice is to send another notification that your previous action has failed with the retry button. So it's good to consider the failure scenarios. And also it's also good practice to dismiss or cancel all the notifications if a user sign outs. So this can avoid getting, like, if they have a notification and they sign out, they open the notification, there could be some invalid state and the app won't be in reusable state. Alright, last section, pitfalls. Don't try in production. I think we all been there when we send like test notification to like all our users. I was reading that one company, they realized they sent hello world to everyone, and then they send the follow-up notification that hello world, have a nice day. So even if you do, like, leave some space to improvise. Do not write test. I mean, in Android it's pretty like safe we can use the ADB shell broadcast event, so we don't have to fiddle with the actual Firebase. I'm not sure in iOS there's a way you have to use either the API or use the Firebase console. Yeah, and we do not want to use the distinct icon for the notification. There's some apps use it, Twitter does it, but for me it's confusing. Like Twitter sets the like icon for like notification, retweet has a different icon, message has a different icon. So when I see the icon on the status bar, I don't know like which notification, which app is sending the notification. And we do not want to abuse the notification enabled and spam the user to let them like ask them to turn it on again, because if they had disabled it, it's for some reason. Yeah, consider the dark mode. So if your app like do not assume that your like large image or your app icon will work on every. Yeah, so it's probably, if you support dark mode, it's good to have like different assets and put it into Drivable Night or whatever resources we have. Avoid custom view for notification. It's like Google doesn't recommend using it because they could have the layout compatibility issues on different devices, and yeah, they do not look same as the rest of the notifications. Another thing is for the large icon, these are the recommended dimensions to follow. For example, if you have big picture, these are the dimensions. So I ran into this. We were showing the picture, large picture, and the image quality was was not good. So if you do not specify the correct height and width, the system will, based on the picture, the system will try to scale or descale. So you might lose the picture quality. So if you stick with these, the images, both large and big picture, will look good. Last is do not have one channel, because if user will turn off, they will turn off all the notifications from your app. And then if you do have channels, have like meaningful name and description. I mean, this doesn't help someone sign to, and these are from some well-known apps. And last, avoid notification fatigue, because with digital well-being, the app will reveal that this app is sending too much notifications, so we don't want to. Your app will be flagged out as like noisy. That is pretty much it. Thank you. Any questions?